Early 2017, I took delivery of a brand new Land Cruiser 70 series, and I love it. I think it's fantastic. It does everything it says it would on the tin and more. Rugged, reliable, etc, etc. And if you are an owner of a 70 series Land Cruiser, you will understand that this vehicle really delivers on its promises, even though it's got quite a few, some annoying shortcomings that we learn to live with and just accept. My name is Andrew St Pierre White. Join me as I build four-wheel trucks and travel to the remotest parts of the world. I'm a prisoner of this hill. This is a follow-up to a video I posted a little while ago about rear brake disc rotor and pads failing prematurely at about 9,500 kilometers. And this is a follow-up to that video. Thank you so much for all of the people that contributed. Really, I learnt a lot. I got so many different responses, most saying that I was treated unfairly, but most giving good reasons for the damage, and some good ones worth repeating here. Driving with a handbrake on. Now, I can't really do that with the Toyota. It beeps very loudly, even if it's on one click up. So before that the brake is actually engaged, it beeps loudly. So not really. Somebody mentioned that, they're not going to buy a Toyota after this. I couldn't really take that terribly seriously. This is not a reason not to buy a Toyota. They make very good cars. My next car will probably be a Toyota. So it's not a reason to not buy a Toyota. Every manufacturer has its issues. What I'm talking about here is a customer service issue, far more than a vehicle issue. And I know customer service is part of buying a vehicle. Of course it is. Okay. Somebody mentioned that, we become a little bit blind, fanatical about Land Cruisers, and we tend to close our eyes to things. That's true. I do it too. I tend to think this is this magic vehicle. Toyotas brake like anything else. Maybe a little less often, because they are very well built, generally speaking. So I'd buy another one. So again, we just need to open our eyes a little bit. These are machines. They can brake. Somebody mentions comparing operations in the mines, when the vehicles go into the mines, that they are very, very heavily modified. I wasn't driving in a mine. Yes, the mine conditions are extreme, and they do rebuild the vehicles and do a lot of modifications to the vehicles so they survive in the mines. I'm not driving in a mine or anywhere near the conditions found in a mine. Somebody mentioned, Toyota are very foolish for doing this, because it's easier to retain a customer than to get a new one. And this is a very bad way of getting a new customer. This is a very valid point, but this isn't about... Somebody also talked about, you just try, I hope you get closure, I hope you get retribution. I'm not interested in retribution. I'm not interested in closure. What I'm interested in doing is highlighting the point that we get lousy customer service and we just accept it. And I don't think we should accept it. I think we should stand up for ourselves. And we know that in the motoring industry, somebody will say, this is broken on my vehicle. And meanwhile, it is most definitely the owner's bad, terrible driving or something that is owner-induced. But sometimes it isn't. In my case, it was assumed it was. And in my case, what clearly happened was that the Mackie in the workshop reported it. He was doing his duty. Brake pad issue here, brake rotor issue here. Reported it to the front desk. I met the guy at the front desk. He's been trained. If it's a brake issue, ignore it. So he was just, no, it's a warranty claim. So I then dug deeper at the dealership. And I had a face-to-face meeting with the dealer, with the service manager. The service manager, nor did the guy on the front desk, actually see the brake pads and rotors. They didn't see them. They didn't ask to see them. Because if they had actually cared, they would have said, okay, let's have a look at this. But they didn't. Pat, standard, textbook answer, go away, it's a brake issue, we're not interested. That's the problem. I had other people suggesting there was modifications to the vehicle. Okay, fair point, fair question, let's put it that way. Up to that point, I was using standard rims. The tyre size were standard. The weight was below GVM. The axle widening was done afterwards. It was done at the same time in Geelong and by Multi-Drive, the same time as I upgraded the brakes. So all of the things that I did, and including adding larger tyres for the KM3 launch, everything I did that could potentially increase the wear speed of the brakes, still not nearly that much, but all of those things that could potentially increase wear speed were done afterwards. So the second set of the terrain tamer discs were done with a higher, if you've got bigger, heavier wheels, there's more inertia, so it needs more brake force and more heat is generated when slowing them down, etc., etc. So clearly, I don't believe, what could I have possibly done to the vehicle that would have affected in any way the rate of wear on the rear rotors and pads? I think I have enough experience to know nothing I did could possibly have had any effect, let alone that effect. Somebody said, "Oh, you're an advocate of Toyota. I'm surprised they didn't kiss your whatever." I'm not an advocate of Toyota. I have an audience, and I drive Toyotas because they deliver what I want out of the vehicle. It's by no means the only vehicle that I would consider driving. By no means. The 70 series is a particularly nice platform for what I do. I'm not an advocate of Toyota. I'm not paid by them, I have no relationship with them, and I've never had a close relationship with them. The last time I actually spoke to them face to face was 2012, and that was Toyota in South Africa. All right, somebody mentioned very importantly, brake force on a vehicle. If the front brakes are pristine, as they were, and the back brakes were in such a mess, since the front brakes do 60+% of the braking, most of the work in slowing a vehicle is done by the front brakes. That's why they're much bigger. That's why they're often cool. They've got, the design allows for a much higher performance, much higher workload than the back brakes do. So that also is another indication. Nothing wrong with the front brakes. The problem with the back brakes. So my conclusion, and I think the conclusion that we will finally reach, is that the brake pads were defective. A brake pad is made out of material that is compressed, and I don't know the details of how it's actually made, but it has to be absolutely uniform. Because if it's not uniform, you start getting ridges, and you get hard bits and soft bits in the brake pad, and a hard bit in a brake pad will wear much slower than a soft bit. So what happened here is the hard bits dug into the brake rotors and the soft bits didn't. And because both sets of brake pads came from the same batch, they performed exactly the same way. That is why there is exact equal wear on left pad and rotor and right pad and rotor. And it's even been suggested to me that I go to the ombudsman and I'm not actually worried about the money involved. I'm not worried about that. This is a customer service issue. It's not actually a brake pad issue. Every manufacturer has issues with its parts now and again. They just do. There are hundreds and hundreds of components that are put into making a vehicle, and they come from hundreds of different sources. The manufacturers are the ones that check the quality that come in and manufacture and assemble a vehicle and then sell it. That's the main job of a vehicle manufacturer. They obviously design it too. But they don't make everything that's put into a vehicle. They only make part of it. The brakes are definitely something that is made by another company and shipped in. And somewhere along the line, some quality control slipped. Big deal. It happens. It just does. But what needn't happen is the attitude of the dealers that, oh well, I'm sure this will be an easy one if we just give it the standard pat answer, and it'll just go away and we can go and have a nice day. Okay, next time, what am I going to do? Oh, I've been doing some nice things on the Land Cruiser. I've been doing a whole lot of interesting things, and I'll show them next time. If you want to follow me and my truck builds, my expeditions on a weekly, if not daily basis, follow me on Instagram. The link is below. And remember to hit that subscribe button.